Okay, I have 4:15. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Just remain standing, please. As you may have heard, the gentleman that was working for me to videotape some of the meetings, John Ruckenbrod, has passed away. He passed away on Thursday of last week, so I just ask for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Roll call. Sam Martin? Here. Martha Eldridge?
Here.
Rick Morgan's here. Public input. Anybody? Not yet. Okay. We're going to start into the red folder then. We have check voucher totals. Last week with payroll, including benefits, week ending 3/2 was $156,501.51. We had accounts payable for week ending 2/25 in the amount of $39,930.59 for a total dispersed of $196,432.10. Additionally, we had water and sewer accounts payable, which we track separately in the amount of $8,533.05. I make a motion we sign. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Three signatures up there. Very nice. Before I forget, we did have a work session upstairs at 3 o'clock. And during that work session, we had occasion to go into a non-public under RSA 91A12A, which is a personnel matter. And to make a motion, we seal those minutes. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the payroll reimbursement request from water and sewer in the amount of $2,863.09. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a contract for use of facilities to use the Chickville Meeting House for a memorial service. Schedule's been okayed, the deposit's been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a copy of a letter sent to a chief of police, our chief, from the superintendent of schools. Dear Chief DeShane, I want to express my gratitude for the assistance from your department regarding the social media threat against Ossipee Central School. This type of incident causes great concern for administration, staff, parents, and students. Your department's assistance is appreciated and provided an additional sense of security to those involved. I'm thankful that we are working together to keep our students safe, and I'm grateful for your support. I presume you already got this?
I did.
Good, thank you. We also received a copy of a card, a thank you card, which is to Rob Ripley on the police department. Evidently, they assisted a person in locating somebody and
It was a welfare check. It was
Yep.
a thank you. They felt that you went above and beyond to
That's
assist
always
in
nice.
locating the individual.
Yep. And that's included in his personnel file?
Correct.
Good.
Yes,
Thank
it is.
you. We have a contract for use of facilities for Ossipee Roundtable to use, I believe it's the gym, in April, May, June, July, and August. The schedule's been okayed by Craig. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have an application for a veteran's exemption. It's been reviewed by our assessor. The person has the required documentation. I make a motion we approve it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 We have another application for a veteran's exemption. It's been reviewed by our assessor and been okayed. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. For those watching, I would renew that the town of Ossipee passed at last year's town meeting, extending the veterans credit to all veterans. If you are a veteran, please submit the application. Once it's approved, it's nothing you have to keep reapplying for. But it's a $500 credit on your taxes, which is a wonderful thank you from the residents of Ossipee for your service. We have the recycling center cash log showing they collected $1,480.30 for the month of February. We have the highway department work log, which is here if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a notice from our tax collector and town clerk that they will be testing the AccuVote machine, which will be used for town meeting. They'll be testing the machine March 5th at 11 o'clock in the town clerk's office. So if anybody's interested. We have a request for clerical abatement. This is map 104, lot 14003, sub 15. It's a camper. Just received the bill of sale for this camper since it was dated in July. The wrong owner was billed in December. It results in a refund or abatement of $110. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And we have a supplemental tax warrant to collect $110 from the rightful owner. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is map 243, lot 2, and map 244, lot 1. It's on Route 16. It's a 432-acre parcel, 100 acres to be cut. Eastern Materials LLC is the owner. Greenleaf Products is the logger. The taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a copy of the wetlands permit. This is where the state is widening shoulders, upgrading signals, rehabilitating pavement, drainage, etc. in the area of 16 and 28. And this is the wetlands permit that we get a copy of. If anybody'd like to read it. We have a request for clerical abatement. This is on map 115, lot 12. The tax bill needs to be abated because the property sold prior to the tax bills going out. Supplemental warrant is to follow. This results in a refund or abatement of $0. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Housekeeping. And this is a supplemental warrant to collect $371 on that property. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a temporary event application. This is for the Open Door Bible Church. July 14th to the 19th. That's a continuing program that they've had with the gospel concert and church service. Been held for several years. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We've tabled this for the last couple of weeks. It was our first application under the exemption that we passed last town meeting for economic development. Our assessor had recommended that we denied because it was not filed by the deadline. I'm not at all clear, and it does not appear that we have necessarily advertised those deadlines as well as we should have. I'm going to make a motion that we accept this application for property tax incentive for commercial and industrial purposes pursuant to RSA 7281, even though it was received late. It was received January 9th
When was it due?
by December 31st. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. You have a letter dated February 25th. Dear Select Board members and Town Administrator, we are writing on behalf of the newly formed Tamworth Recycling Committee to reach out to the Select Boards of neighboring towns in hopes of finding regional solutions to the growing cost of recycling in our communities. As you may know, as of October 2018, Tamworth is no longer recycling glass, mixed paper, tin, or plastic at their transfer station due to the change in market requirements for recyclable materials and a $31,000 increase in cost. We are still able to recycle aluminum cans and heavy metal through a local recycler, but under the town's new 3-year contract, Waste Management will only accept corrugated cardboard. As a result, many tons of material that could be recycled are now ending up in the landfill. Given current market conditions for recyclables, this unfortunate outcome could soon be the result in other area towns as well. And it goes on, but what they're basically asking for is it closes a short survey about your town's recycling program. They will compile the results and get back to you with what they learn. They look forward to hearing from us and sharing ideas and information as we work together to make recycling more viable and cost-effective in our towns. I'm going to suggest that we hand this off to Brad and Brewster and see if they something they want to participate in. I'm not necessarily all that enthused about joining any other town on recycling, but that's, I guess it doesn't hurt to look at it. Thoughts?
No, sounds good.
You make sure you get
I made my
that.
thoughts clear.
Not here, you did. Check in.
I'm checking, but I didn't hit you either.
Okay. We have, from the Revenue Administration, it's the annual equalized evaluation report on the town of Ossipee. I'll get to the important part. Based on the enclosed survey, we have determined the median ratio for the land, buildings, and manufactured housing in Ossipee for tax year 2018 to be at 85.7%. The median ratio is generally preferred measure of central tendency for assessment equity, monitoring appraisal performance, and determining reappraisal priorities. There's a lot more that goes with it, but the fact that we are at 85%, I think we were at 87 last year.
No, we were 94.
Okay. When we had been notified earlier that of how far out of balance we were as to actual sales, that's why we moved up the reevaluation from 2020 to this year. So that will get corrected, but it's at 85%. We have a water and sewer warrant to allow the tax collector to collect $4,070. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Old business. Anything? So, new business, we got the candidates night tonight. At 5 o'clock here today, we have the town report dedication. 6:30 tonight is meet the candidates. And of course, we have town meeting voting on Tuesday, March 12th, and then the actual town meeting deliberative portion Wednesday, March 13th. Public input. Nothing? Brad, anything?
Just
Sick of snow yet?
Get tired of snow. That's it. Just, hope people stay patient with us with the clearing of it, and, we've spent a lot of time pushing the snowbanks back now too, because there's so much of it out there, so, yeah.
Any progress on from last week on the bridge?
I've sent the contract back to them. They anticipate being up here, I think, this week or next week to start the survey work they need to lay out the pins, get the points they need to build a new one and stuff there. So they said it'd probably be 6 to 8 weeks to actually produce it, have it ready to put in. We should put it in towards the end of April here and stuff. And in the meantime, and weather breaks, we'll probably go in and remove the old deck and get it all prepped up ahead of time, and
Okay.
so it'll be ready for them.
And on sidewalks?
Sidewalks, I've been in contact, 3 people have gotten back to me so far with their updated pricing. One didn't change at all, a couple other ones have changed a little bit, they've gone up a couple $100, something like that. There's still some more to come in, so I'm still anticipating, right around town meeting time to have those figures all in and stuff by the middle of March.
Because I'd like to, I know the other two, I think of the same opinion. I'd like to get that brought together and get a contract that can be signed. I won't be here after town meeting, but there's 2 here that are waiting on it, so. And whoever the third person is, I'm sure will as well. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Nothing. Ed, any updates from Concord?
No, just in the middle of the budget and about 1,000 bills, it's the same thing. I have nothing.
Okay. I will take some, I'm going to be answering the paper, letter, but there was a letter in last week's paper which didn't quote me, but chastised me about saying that they couldn't imagine, that I couldn't imagine that the Budget Committee article wouldn't pass for the Government Wentworth School District. And I will say it again, just so I can piss her off, that I cannot imagine that that won't pass. The implications by that letter were that somehow it was an anti-school board effort, and that could not be farther from the truth. I have said repeatedly, and I will say again, I have nothing but respect and admiration for the members of our school board. They spend an awful lot of time. They're paid, I don't think they're paid anything, are they? If they are, either way, I have nothing but respect and admiration for them. But to suggest that because they are good people, that the district shouldn't have a budget committee, it doesn't even make sense. Every one of the towns, with the exception of Brookfield, has a municipal budget committee. A committee that is elected simply to look at the budget and is, in my mind, helps to provide more transparency. I think that the townspeople depend an awful lot on what the budget committee says and their recommendations. And the thoughts that there's a $54 million Governor Wentworth School District budget that has no budget committee boggles my mind. I would point to a couple of things. When the boards of selectmen met with the school board rather, a few months ago, we were, I think, collectively shocked to find out that the school district was still paying 100% full family health insurance for every district employee. That one line item in that budget is $9.2 million, one line. They were, and I pointed out to them at that meeting, literally 15 years behind the curve. We love our employees, and they're good employees, but they've been paying towards their health insurance for 15 years. And that amount has gone up over the years. So that one item alone leads me to believe that there are areas, in fact, where the district can save some money. The other thing that was found, and I think it was Ed that found this at that meeting, what they have been doing for a budget review is 4 or 5 members having 4 or 5 meetings. Those meetings were not recorded. There were no minutes taken of those meetings. And quite frankly, they were illegal. RSA 91A requires that those meetings be posted, that they be recorded, or that there be minutes kept of those meetings, and that wasn't done. They're doing it now, and I'm not pointing any fault, but to say that there wasn't a problem, there was a problem. The other thing that I'd like people to think about is if there are only 4 or 5 members who are comprising this subcommittee for the budget, then that means that there are towns within the district who are not represented in the budget process, that don't even have a voice. So I think that for all of those reasons, there is more than reason to have an elected budget committee. The deliberative session did water down the request a little bit because they made it so that it's only advisory and it's only for 1 year, but it's a start. It's not to say that the school board isn't doing their job. That's not what I'm saying at all, not what I've said at all. What I'm saying is that there are no group of 4 or 5 people who can do an adequate budget review on a $54 million budget in 3 or 4 or 5 meetings. It's not possible. Our budget process here started back in September, October, and takes, 4 months to go through a $6 million budget. So The letter writer from last week, I think, has got it completely wrong. It doesn't necessarily surprise me. What I see in many areas of government is that it's always a revenue problem, always. There's never a discussion that there may in fact be a spending problem. And I hope, and I will certainly be voting for the Budget Committee, and I hope the residents of the district do, and I just can't imagine that it wouldn't pass. It doesn't do anything other than have additional eyes looking at that budget and increases the transparency. And that's what I've got to say on that. Ed?
Yes, Mark, I would say so. There's one thing I think we're missing. All we're talking about year after year is money, money, money. But we're not talking about outcomes. And I had posted on the Facebook page, GovernmentOversite.com, the New Hampshire Department of Education has a listing of all the scores. So it shows you how well your school's doing, what the proficiencies are of the students. To have a less than 54% proficiency in math, reading 30%, there's a 45%. I'm not making the numbers up, it's right there. So are we asking the wrong question? Could we keep paying the same amount or a little less, but then get better outcomes? I'm not getting a clear answer why the proficiency is so low. If there's a reason, then the school board should say, well, it's because the tests change, or we have other issues, and that's the reason why it's not happening. I don't know what that is. But don't just focus on the money now, because now I'm wondering, looking at those scores, and this is throughout the state too. You'll notice the push is, we need more funding, we need more funding. They say this over and over again, but there's never a talk about those tests. So that's something I'm going to ask, I got to ask again at the school board meeting, because that's important. Now the other issue was the 2 warrant articles. This is how it should, this would have been utopia for me. If all the people that signed the petition showed up at deliberative session, there would have been enough people to override the group that was there. That's how democracy works. So it worked the way it was supposed to. If people showed up, we would have clearly had the tax cap and the elected budget committee on that ballot, and then we could have voted on it. So that didn't happen. So it's going to take a long time to change things around here. Perhaps next time, if we do it again, people have to go to these deliberative sessions. Another thing is nobody's going to the school board meeting to ask the questions about the tests. When I was over here in Ossipee Central and I made this big dissertation on film, I'm looking at the audience and I'm realizing everybody there except I think 1 or 2 people were all working in the school. So where's everybody else that has to pay the bill? I shouldn't be just talking to the employees.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming nobody came because it can be pretty frustrating when you go to a deliberative session like that and you're beaten down every single solitary time. But that's democracy.
Yeah.
And nobody showed up. So
It is unfortunate, you're right. And I also remember back before it was SB2, when we used to go over there, and on many occasions, there was a great turnout from Ossipee, and you would just get buried in votes and were tough to burn. So there is a lot of history there, you're right. The way to beat that is to participate in the process. The other thing I wanted to mention real briefly, and what caused this Board of Selectmen to get involved and to call for that meeting last year, was the fact that Ossipee's school tax rate went up $1.56 in 1 year. We had worked really hard at that point to cut the town tax rate 68 cents over 4 years, and in one fell swoop, they went up $1.56 a thousand. The projected 2019 budget, Ossipee's rate actually is projected to go down a little bit. I believe it when I see it, because their projection was off by almost 30 cents a thousand last year. But what they project for the town of Effingham this coming year is an increase of $3 per thousand, 1 year. Now, with all due respect to this lady who wrote a letter to the paper, I don't think she has any inkling of how many people live on the edge in this area. I don't, if my taxes go up $150, I don't like it, but I can afford it. But there were people in this town who are living in Effingham in the same boat, who are living on $700 a month in Social Security. $3 1,000, Effingham's getting ready to go up. I mean, you're talking about a real impact on people. That's not chump change. And for them to dismiss that,
Yeah,
that bothers, and that should bother everybody, because every town needs to look out for their most vulnerable and their weakest. And I don't think that's what this district's doing right now at all.
Now, I did say that on film. I did, if you want to go watch the video, I did actually say that, because I kept getting confronted with, you need to fund it. You need to fund the adequacy grants. You need to fund it. You need to fund it. And I keep saying, because there was a bill that passed the House that would appropriate $40 million more to pay for the retirement system, which we're not paying back to the towns, which is a big chunk of change. Now, I could not, maybe I said it wrong. If you appropriate money, that money's got to come from somewhere. I kept saying that they're going to have to pull in fees from something. You don't just print the money up, and the state has to have a balanced budget. So where do you think the money's going to come from? They're going to push the sales tax, and they're already doing that, pushing the income tax, pushing other taxes in order to make up for that. So that's what I deem from what she said, is that I'm just supposed to vote to appropriate more funds and take it from the most vulnerable, which are people trying to get to work and pay their other taxes and fees. I mean, look at your registration fees. If you have a truck, look how much that is. How can you, on a fixed income, if you have a truck, just one pickup truck, what is it? $200, 175?
For what, to register?
Yeah,
Oh, a
register.
lot more than that.
I wish I could do mine.
I wish it was that much. Mine was just,
I'm gonna register my truck where you are.
mine's not even new, and it just cost me $5 something.
I did it on purpose. How can somebody who works every day and pay the high property taxes and then pay just that one bill? And now if they want the income tax, and then they want, you're going to have to pay for it somewhere. But you see, I'm noticing that the push is to keep talking about the money. Now, are they saying that, this is a hypothesis, of course, are they saying that so we don't look at the test scores? Because they're not talking about the test scores. Maybe that's the question we need to ask. Because I don't think everybody would mind paying a little more for the school if we're getting gold coming out of the school. Now, there might be other things. You may had a lot of special ed kids that had to be accounted for in the system. And that should be explained by them. And about the elected budget committee and the tax cap, I've noticed around here it's a common thing where no one wants to change the status quo. They just want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. An elected budget committee would have at least accomplished more people getting involved, like another set of eyes. And the tax cap, they made it sound like they're going to put a tax cap in and just cut everything and keep it at that 2%. But if they needed to make it higher than that, they could vote. The town, the legislature, the town legislatures could vote to change that amount. I don't know why there was such pushback. It just seemed like everybody was feeling, and you read that in the newspaper, it made it sound like everybody was attacking the school.
Yeah,
and that was not the goal. The goal was to get more people involved and also get more participation and more eyes on it to even help the school board out, so we know what they're going through.
Yeah. Again, if you look at it, the letter writer was that if what the writer's premise was accurate, then none of the boards of selectmen in these towns are trustworthy, because that's the only reason to have a budget committee. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The budget committee can make a great deal of recommendations about things outside of the operating budget. The school board has a myriad of issues to deal with. Again, it doesn't take them out of the budget process any more than it takes the Board of Selectmen out of our budget process. But it provides that group of people whose only job is to look at the budget. I just don't see where that could possibly be conceived as a bad thing.
And I also thought the good thing would be that now, if we had an elected budget committee, then the school board would have more time to focus on policy and curriculum and other stuff they have to deal with, because there are a lot of things the school board can't talk about because it's about the students. So it may seem like they may not be doing everything they're supposed to do, but the problem is they can't tell you everything. So you hear through the grapevine things, types of students, special ed, kids with problems, the opioid issue, you have all these things they're dealing with. But then now they have to do a budget. Now, if we had a budget committee, then that could have been a help to them. I don't know why everybody thought that as being some attack or something.
I was honestly surprised, even, and listen, the deliberative session watered it down, made it only advisory, made it only for 1 year, and yet the school board still doesn't recommend it.
I had a question about that too. If you, as a board, don't recommend a warrant article, you vote to recommend or not recommend, correct?
Correct.
Find me the vote where that entire school board said they don't recommend it. I can't find it anywhere unless I didn't see it.
So it's on the warrant, it's on the proposed warrant. That
I
way.
know, but where did the vote occur? Where did that take place? I was videotaping the meetings for weeks now. I don't remember hearing that vote. When was that done? Maybe it was done in a finance committee meeting, but that's only that small group of people. If the entire school board voted not to recommend, then that should be how it's done. I know I gotta find those minutes now. Good luck.
Good luck. Anybody have anything else?
I'd like to send my condolences out to Jim Champagne. His father passed away this weekend. Jim works for me at the water department.
We already instructed Ellen when we're upstairs. Town policy provides for 3 days of bereavement leave, but that is also completely up to the discretion of the department head, and we would fully expect you to do whatever you need to do for him. Okay. Anybody have anything else? If not, I'll make a motion, we adjourn. All in favor? Anybody wants to stick around, we are doing the town meeting, the town report dedication at 5 o'clock here. So, okay. If I could have your attention, please. We're here to briefly do our dedication of the town report. Each year we try to find somebody who is what I would refer to as a difference maker. And I believe we have one this year. So, Donna, could you join us up here, please? They didn't want me to be a rose between two thorns, so. I'm going to read this, and I'll guarantee you that we have missed some things that you've been involved with because you've been involved in so much. But it is with great pleasure that we dedicate this year's town report to Donna Sargent. Donna is most well known for her involvement with Ossipee Concerned Citizens, but before that, Donna worked in the human service field, specializing in family planning. Donna has been an integral part of the community in Ossipee Concerned Citizens since she was appointed executive director only a few short years after it opened in 1975. Donna has held that position to this day. A true definition of a visionary, she has been compelled to seek and provide accessible services for all ages of the community and has made them possible through fundraising and grant writing. Over the years, millions of dollars in funding have been received in town as a result of her efforts. In the early 1980s, Donna was responsible for bringing the WIC program, Women, Infant, and Children program, to the area, providing supplemental food and nutrition programs to families. In 1994, the Ossipee Crossing Daycare program was formed. Donna has been affiliated with many programs, boards, and committees, all with the purpose of benefiting the needs of the community. Some of these include Housing and Urban Development Program, Formation Committee of the Blue Loom Bus Service that once offered transportation to doctor's appointments and other services in the area, Ossipee Main Street Program, the Old Home Week Committee, Mount Washington Valley Economic Development Council, the New Hampshire Coalition of Aging, New Hampshire Association of Senior Centers, Meals on Wheels. She's also sat on the Town of Ossipee Budget Committee for many years. Donna has also coached 4th through 6th grade softball and 7th through 8th grade basketball for several years, most notably known for making the Santa Project what it is today. Donna, for several years, running it single-handedly, ensures that every child in need receives at Christmas time. Thank you for all the time and effort you have given to help make Ossipee a better place to live. Thank you.
On behalf of the Ossipee Concerned Citizens Board of Directors, I'd like to present this. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And there are some light refreshments. We'd ask you to join and spend a few minutes.
Yep. Thank you all for coming. This means a lot to me. I didn't do it all by myself. I have the man upstairs, better known as God, with me all the way, and my board, Jim Thompson, my partner in crime, and all of the great staff that have worked with me throughout the years, my family who's been behind me throughout everything. And I'm glad to see them here tonight, and I thank you all. Appreciate it. I really do.
Have a cupcake.
Does she have to eat it first, or can we eat it before her? Does she have to eat it first?
No.
No, really.
And there are copies of the town report which are here